I should, because like I'm always like dealing with it still for like 2 hours leading up to appointment, and you know that they won't start the actual operation thing until, you know, you have finished like dispelling the fucking bowel prep, so it always ends up like running late. But yeah, I fucking hate it. Obviously everybody fucking hates it. I will have one of those either, oh yeah, that's right, this is here. I'll have either one of those around Christmas this year, or I'll have one sometime next year. I'm due for one. Because I'm still yearly, apparently, with it. Because I went for like 10 years with my Crohn's, where I wasn't being managed by anybody because my guy died. But now that I am being managed, even though my regular checkups and stuff and all that sort of stuff has been moved back to 6 monthly, I think I've gone from 3 monthly to 6 monthly because I'm doing well. Yeah, here it is, right fucking there. That's the next level down. Yeah, so because I'm doing all right, I think that's an empty area there. I do it every 6 months now, so I have to do some tests, I think, in December, but I don't know if I also have to do the whole colonoscopy thing or not. That could be like next year. I'm hoping it's next year, but I think it's going to be this year. I feel like it's this year, especially since it's like yearly. It's usually fucking November, December, and it's horrible. Like, you know, you basically just destroy your whole body the day beforehand. Like, oh, sorry, the week beforehand, because my body doesn't work properly, right? Even with Crohn's, right? It doesn't even work properly for that, right? I have a whole week beforehand where I have to eat soft foods and soups, and then 3 days beforehand I have to start drinking broths, broths and jellies of like specific colors, and then I think 2 days beforehand I have to drink a lot of water, and then the day beforehand I have to take like this like 12 hours of prep, which is exhausting because, you know, it's not just the 12 hours of drinking the stuff and like going to the toilet and stuff, it's also the sleep deprivation of having to stay up and like go to the bathroom constantly and all this stuff like constantly. And then we have the actual day of the actual like procedure and shit, and that's usually, I'm usually the last patient of the day, so I don't get seen until I think 2 p.m. I have to go in at 10 usually, and I don't get seen till 2, and then I don't get out until 5 usually, or about that, 4 or 5 I think p.m. So it's like, it's a long week for me. What? Wrong button. It's a long week for me when I have to go and do one of these like tests and stuff. Previously what I was doing was I wasn't taking any time off when I had to go and do those from streaming and stuff, but nowadays I try to like in advance take a couple of days off, or like take days off in and around it and stuff so that I can rest, because I'm like malnourished for the week and like fucking dehydrated by the end of the week and exhausted, and it's a lot. So yeah, I don't push myself with that shit. It's fine. I don't need to keep the small one there. So they're not fancy though, quite sterile. I missed something there. Could have been a whole Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man situation. a little bit with the men's bathroom situation, but it's not the first time I've walked into the men's bathroom. Like, that was when I did it on purpose. I walked in there by accident. And I've literally just, like, walked in and, like, gone off to the toilet and then, like, washed my hands and left. And there's been, like, guys standing outside, like, questioning the situation. And I'm just like, I look back at the door and I'm like, oh, lol. That's just the men's toilets. But, like, I legit don't care. A toilet's a toilet. Obviously, I should care because it's a public situation and men deserve the right of privacy and shit, especially since urinals exist and stuff. But, like, at the same time, like, a lot of the time I'm just urgently looking for a toilet, and, like, any toilet will do kind of thing. So, yeah, mistakes happen. But that time, that specific incident was on purpose. I was searching for one. But, yeah. What else? I think fountains are very popular at highway rest stop bathrooms when it's one of those huge complexes. They usually have 2 or 3 of those. Really? because they're like fucking kind of rare here. I don't know of enough places that have them, but like they do exist for sure. They exist, but like I just don't see them around. And like I'm somebody that's obviously spent a good amount of time in like public bathrooms, so like I've seen things. I've definitely seen things in fucking public bathrooms. Let's drop off some of my money. And what else? They're not fancy though, quite sterile looking actually. I guess like the one that I was talking about, Jesus, that destroyed it. The one that I was talking about was like the fancy bathroom and stuff. The fancy sink was more so like, it looked like a proper like bird bath fountain kind of thing. Like it looked pretty fancy. It looked like a pain in the ass to clean for them. Was it? I'd quite like to encounter a fancy one, maybe made out of marble or something. It looked like it was made out of some kind of stone, but I couldn't tell you what kind of stone it would have been made out of. It could have been just like some kind of like concrete or something painted to look like stone. That would have also been a thing, but I don't think concrete would work for that. So I'm not sure what it was, but I don't think it didn't look like it was like glazed so much as like just something. I don't know. Actually, it could have been like a form of granite now that I think about it. Like a sorry, like a tan colored like granite type thing. That would make sense because it looked kind of sandstony to me, realistically. Australia has like a fair bit of sandstone. We have a lot of like different fucking types of stone and stuff. The sandstone's like a really common one through Queensland. Yes, I forgot about that. That last two I had done, I had the stoma. Oh yeah. Didn't have any prep with the stoma. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, how would that go with the stoma? Because obviously, like, you know, never have to delve into anything that's like too personal and shit, but like, still, I imagine that would be almost borderline corrosive or like impossible to keep up with like emptying and stuff in that situation. Yeah. So like anybody that's never had a colonoscopy, like you're supposed to have one after you become an adult. I think you're supposed to try to get one like every 10 years. It's for most normal people that don't have chronic like medical conditions and stuff. In the case of like, you know, inflammatory bowel diseases and stuff, like, it's usually used to find like what do you call it, colon cancer and stuff like that. Is usually what it's used for, which is fine. That's something people should be getting checked for anyway. But like, yeah, in the case of like having a fucking inflammatory bowel disease, it's horrible because it's just like, it's enhancing everything and irritating everything and inflaming everything. So everything's like extra painful and like basically like dealing with like your regular symptoms except all at once. There's a spine wolf in here. As far as medical stuff goes, I'm pretty much open book as long as listener is not gonna get grossed out or I'm not in an anxiety mood. That's fair. I think the thing is, like, to a degree, like, there's sometimes where, like, I can be shy about it or uncomfortable, especially if, like, for instance, say, like, a brand new face happens to pop up and like, you know, I'm in the thick of, like, saying some kind of, like, really deeply personal thing, but at the same time, I'm having a full-ass conversation with an audience of I don't know how many or who, and then of course like this shit goes onto YouTube anyway, so it's forever. So yeah, basically I'll never talk about anything that I'm not comfortable talking about or that I don't think will benefit the education of somebody. Like with Crohn's, a lot of this stuff, even just like talking about a colonoscopy, because colonoscopy is something that people without chronic health conditions will have to do likely at some point in their life, no matter like what they're doing, right? Just for like the whole colon cancer side of things, checking for that. Most people only generally get checked for stuff like that when they get older, but like, you know, it can be one of those things where it can probably seem pretty embarrassing or like invasive and stuff like that, especially if you have to get it done younger or, you know, you're more older, kind of modest person kind of thing, or more reserved and whatever. Like, I'm a relatively reserved person, but like, I understand that like Crohn's, I didn't even know Crohn's was a thing that existed until I had it. And it's incredibly common. And I was just oblivious that it's a thing that's out there. And a lot of people, like, if you were to look at me, you know, on a day when I'm not, like, fucking tired as all hell, I look incredibly normal. And I look like nothing is wrong with me at all. But I have Crohn's disease, which is a chronic health disease. I've got a chronic pain disorder. I've got, like, you know, I've basically, like, fucked back, hip, neck kind of thing, injuries and that, permanent. I've got all sorts of fucking stuff going on, but it's internal. And so, like, most people would just see me and go, oh, you're just normal. Like, you know how I was saying earlier with the whole, you know, as somebody with, like, chronic health conditions, your appearing normal is usually, like, being exceptional kind of thing, is having to be exceptional to appear normal kind of thing if you're on a bad day or something. But everybody else's exceptional is truly exceptional. But when you put into context of, like, having conditions and not starting the day with the energy, the same kind of conditions of everybody else around you, right? It is awesome. Obviously, it's, you know, it is exceptional, impressive, stuff like that, but it's not going to be noticed or seen or recognized for the most part. And sometimes talking about stuff like this, like, it kind of, like, it seems like, oh, you want to be seen as being special or doing, like, working harder than somebody else. And it's like, no, I just want to be recognized as trying to at least get on the same level kind of thing. Because, you know, existing's hard. There must be an enemy in here, because that's just lit up. She did the whole detect enemies thing. Oh man, my neck. I don't know if you guys heard that crack then. That was great. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix my shoulder up. There we go. Better understood now than it was in the past, at least. Basically has zero public presence. What is that? Is it a bug or a spider? Sorry. I felt like something was, like, running over me. I can't tell if, like, a hair has come loose and, like, has fallen down, or if that's a spider skittling around on me, or what. I haven't spotted anything. I just, like, was mildly distracted there. My Valkyrie has fucked off and found something, and I don't know what she has found. I shouldn't go down to the next group. It's better understood now. It was in the past, at least. It has zero public presence in the past, but I've encountered a lot of people who've at least know someone else with it, or have heard about it with others. That's the other thing too, is, like, I was somebody that didn't know about this stuff. I was not aware of Crohn's, or, you know, like, people that could have, like, issues, like digestive issues and stuff like that. I learnt about GERD through this as well. I came across another fellow through, like, all my testing and stuff. I came across another fellow that had GERD, and so I learnt about that. That's why I like the conversation with Dragoon about the other day about GERD and stuff. Like, I understand a little bit about it. So I've met somebody that's had it because of, like, testing and stuff. But, like, yeah, a lot of this stuff is, like, I guess because it's, like, it's not conversational. Like, things are getting conversational, but, like, a lot of these things are just topics that just people don't generally talk about, or you don't hear about unless you know somebody, because they're not talked about with strangers usually. Like, the thing is, like, I've been talking about stuff like this before in public with, like, my family and stuff. I've been, like, sitting in a restaurant and filling them in on medical conditions and stuff, right? Or explaining why I can't eat something or can't do something or whatever. And, like, you know, I'm, like, probably able to be heard by others, or, you know, the restaurant staff that I've got to talk to and stuff. And I'm like, you know, apart from, like, who I encounter to and why I have to, like, explain it and stuff to make my life bearable with it, aside from that, like, I'm not just sitting there, generally speaking, unlike now, in a public platform, like, you know, talking about it and stuff. Obviously, in this particular case, like, this is a public platform and I am talking about it and stuff, but I'm comfortable talking about it because it's something that not just affects me, but it affects others, and, you know, also helps people understand, like, my day-to-day and stuff. Like, I'm sure some people, like, legit couldn't give a fuck and they're like, just focus on Diablo and shut the fuck up, and I'm like, you can get the hell out of my channel if that's how you feel and stuff. But, like, for the rest of it, it's like, I'm sure that there's like some mild curiosity about like the shit that I deal with from day to day. Like like with OCD, you know how I was saying with my character the other day during art stream and stuff, like there's a lot of nuances about how my character self-represents me, and like that applies to like how she dresses and all sorts of stuff, and why like certain activities and certain behaviors and stuff like that, which is why I don't feel like somebody else could like represent myself in my art and stuff, especially since a big part of my channel is my own art style, that brings like a touch of personality to it and stuff. Like there's all sorts of stuff. Sorry, I need to like get like some water. My voice is like just phoning it in at this point. The existing is hard, facts. It is though. Because like I also have a cousin that's in like her late 30s, well she's in her 40s now, but in her late 30s she developed a neurological disorder, and she was always going to have it. It just was dormant, and then one day it just activated and her life completely changed. Absolutely changed, like so much. And you know, there's people like that exist that have like all kinds of like fucking barriers and shit. And the funniest thing is like a lot of the time like we relate really good because like the whole existence is hard, or having to like prepare to do an outing or to socialize, or you know, laying down after socializing or going somewhere, or you know, all these things are just normal. They are normal and stuff, but would seem like unusual to other people and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, I think it's like, it sucks that like she's got stuff too, but it is nice to have somebody else that understands the whole existing is like, it's not just fundamentally a fucking privilege to exist. Like you gotta put some work into it apparently, or at least if you have conditions you gotta put work into it constantly, just to I don't know, I keep saying just to exist, but it is true, it's just to exist. Like if you want to get beyond just existing and start doing something else, like then you gotta put even more effort in, and like not so much like lower your standards or whatever, but just understand that it's going to be a lot harder to do the same as like somebody else. You know what, you can stay there. I should have let Eliza in here, she's nothing I can do to fix her up, but like I'm in a little safe room at the moment. It's so hard to know if talking about it will be triggering uncomfortable for somebody. Whoops. Let's get a new one of you, because I don't want you to get near Eliza. Yeah, she's out there all on her own basically at the moment. Uncomfortable with someone, or mood dampener, even if you ask first. There's often a fair number of hurdles you have to get past before knowing it's okay to talk about it. Yeah, well, a lot of it is getting used to, like, for instance, in my case as a streamer, is kind of like getting used to who in my community is, like, talking and, like, who has conditions, who understands, like, the struggles, mental or physical and stuff like that, and, like, you know, yeah, sometimes it can be an absolute dampener. Like, it's always a little sad, I guess, when I talk about, like, the shit that I've been through and stuff. But the fact of the matter is, and it probably comes across to many people as, like, trauma dumping, but the fact is, it's my past. It's literally my life. And yeah, some of it really sucks. Some of it's really kind of sad and unfortunate and stuff, but, like, it's literally my actual background, you know? I can't make it any happier than what it was, you know. Obviously, like, some people will be like, oh, well, just don't talk about it. And it's like, okay, let me just not talk about a huge chunk of my life. Which, honestly, there are some parts where I actually just don't, because it is a bit like that. And as I said, there will be things that I'll never talk about and stuff. But, like, the other thing, too, is the funniest thing, probably for me, is because, as I said, like, I end up putting my videos on YouTube and stuff later, right? So, out of the blue, at any point in a video, there can be any conversation happening, which is kind of funny, because I had this with RimWorld the other day, and I had somebody comment that they clicked on the RimWorld video and the first 10 minutes of the video was me talking about my war crimes in The Sims, and I'm like, yeah, that's just kind of normal. It's like I'm playing RimWorld, but like I could be talking about anything. And same applies with all the games and stuff, because it's like I'm more so conversational streamer than I am giving a fuck about the games. Like, I love Diablo 2, right? like, this is my favorite game, and I am putting some effort into making sure that we're doing this playthrough, like, accurately and shit, but at the same time, like, I don't give a fuck if I die. I would have died a heap as a kid because I probably would have had the attention span, not so much as a flea, but, like, it wouldn't have been far off when I was a kid. Like, you know, back then we had slightly longer attention spans than people these days, but yeah, it's still the same kind of, like, it equals out, balances out a little bit, you know? And yeah, as far as, like, the talking about anything, like, I've had it with Diablo. Probably Diablo we'd probably get into, like, the deepest, darkest, like, Crohn's facts. Probably more so than anything, I feel like. I feel like this is, like, the place to understand Crohn's. Not really. It just happens, right? And, and more often than not, usually when I'm playing Diablo, Thursday is, like, getting late in the week, and I'm usually not really doing that well by Thursday, Friday kind of thing on the average. So, you know, I often sound really tired and worn out and all sorts of stuff. Like, at the moment, I've got, and my voice is starting to go and stuff. Like, that's why I've got it on my avatar, is just to let you know that, you know, my voice doesn't always sound like this. Like, I am currently losing my voice because I've done, like, a couple of big streams and I do a lot of talking and stuff. It's bound to happen. Like, my cousin was actually asking me literally this morning if my laryngitis was back, because she's like, by the sounds of it, you've been doing so much talking. Like, she doesn't catch the streams or anything. She has a couple of times, but not really. And she's like, I'm really surprised you don't have, like, your laryngitis isn't back. Like, you haven't lost your voice again due to overuse. And I'm like, I'm fucking this close. I know I'm this close to, like, losing it, because, like, the other day, like, the biggest thing for me is either my neck swells or I struggle to swallow food after a stream. Like, that's normally the biggest thing. Obviously, like, my voice goes rip, but I can't really hear my own voice like you guys do on the VODs and stuff. I listened to my art stream back afterwards because there was something in there I wanted to, like, specifically go back and, like, catch. And the funniest part about it was I was listening to it and I'm like, oh, my voice is so bad by that point. And I'm like, because I didn't have the music, it was, like, clear as day. And I'm like, oh man, nothing I can do about it though. Like, every weekend I just try to rest it. I see you peeking, Keelan. We're in all kinds of topics at the moment. But the game is definitely a bit more gruesome. It's not too big of a jump. Yeah, I guess. But the thing is, like, some people, what makes somebody squeamish about one thing is not necessarily the same as another. Like, you know, in Diablo, like, it's not like Doom, for instance. Like, Doom is a bit more gruesome than Diablo, for instance. I find that, like, when I'm jumping around in Doom and I'm ripping demons' heads off and shoving bones through eyeballs and stuff like that, even I'm a little bit like, ugh, like, does it need to be that way kind of thing? But I get it, it's Doom, right? And then, you know, the topics and stuff that I talk of, usually, funny thing is, so when I'm playing Doom, more often than not, we talk about, like, the lore of my character. And so I end up being, like, it's normally a lot lighter when I'm playing Doom. Like, it's a lot lighter than the context of the game. And when I'm playing Diablo, we talk more about, like, my Crohn's and understanding, like, medical conditions and, like, personal comforts, OCDs, stuff like that. And I'm like, I wonder if there's, like, 'cause Diablo is kind of like a mid-ground for me. I don't find it too gross, and I realistically don't find it gross at all. But, like, I know there's, like, blood and things dying and all sorts of stuff, and, like, yeah, I don't know. I just don't really notice it. I'm kind of, like, immune to it. But there's other games where, like, RimWorld has, like, war crimes, like, all hell, but, like, it's not gruesome because it's all, like, sort of very, I don't know, I would call it almost, like, cutesy. And same with, like, 7 Days. 7 Days is, like, a little bit grosser because, like, they added in the grotesque dismemberment thing in, like, some of the last updates where, like, you can, like, squish a character's head and have an eyeball hanging out, or, like, disarm something, or like, have, like, somebody's brain chopped in half or something like that. Like, that's a little bit grosser. But again, 7 Days to Die is such a fucking casual chat. It really is. Ain't nothing gonna stop me from having a casual chat, I'll tell you what. Even my voice loss won't stop me from it. So wait, I just looked up all the symptoms of laryngitis because I never actually checked. It literally have that a bunch. That explains so much. Well, hi Viking as well. It wakes up, I can tell. Snuggly wolf plush? No. Give you some pats, Viking. And plush, of course. But yeah, I get laryngitis a lot. Usually I get it from a cold. So normally I get it from an infection, having a cold first, and then it infects, basically, like it attacks kind of like the vocal cords and kind of makes it that you can't kind of like constrict and vibrate your vocal cords and stuff properly, so you can't make sound. So when I get laryngitis, I lose my voice. And I can't talk and stuff. And I've had that a few times individually without having sickness, and that's where you get laryngitis from overuse. So overuse laryngitis is where you talk so much, or you get it more so for like if you were to go to a concert and you were to scream reply at people all night long, and then you kind of lose your voice goes hoarse because oh shit, there's enemies in here, because like you're screaming at the top of like your voice all the time and you're wearing it out. The other thing is also when you talk for too long, or a really long period of time. So with streaming, because I started streaming where I think I streamed for 2 hours at a time, and then I streamed for 3 hours, 3 days a week. And then when I went to 4 days a week doing the 3 hours, I started to lose my voice at that point. But then when I went up to 4 hours, 4 days a week, and I think I just jumped straight up to 4 hours, 5 days a week at one point there, I just kept losing it. I also at the time had recorded a song as well, a song clip. So, you know, the extra hours of streaming and also singing and all that was just super overusage. Which I wasn't really prepared for. I wasn't really prepared to lose my voice from overusage. I've never really done that before till streaming, but I definitely get it occasionally.
I am overburdened.
Like, you'll normally hear it after we have like a really long stream or an extremely chatty stream, and out of nowhere I have like a really rough voice for a little bit. And the funniest thing is, like, I get the most fucking hateful comments on YouTube, usually when I have a sore throat, which is why I've made the point of putting the blurb on my avatar about my voice being sore, or sometimes being rip and stuff like that, because otherwise what I get is I get people come in and just be like, leave horrible comments about like having a smoker's voice or something like that, and I'm like, no mate, I'm literally like almost out of voice, like it's not what you think it is kind of thing. But like there's nothing I can do. The only thing I can do once my voice starts to go is rest it. And I think we all know that that doesn't happen. Oh, what are you doing, Phoenix? Don't jump off of me. Phoenix has come to check on me. Phoenix is my cat. I just felt like these two little paws attack my thigh out of nowhere, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I thought it was like a bug, and then I looked over because he's so small and so light and stuff now because he's really old. And I looked down and Phoenix is like looking up at me with giant saucer eyes. He's on the chair beside me now. He's all happy. What are you up to? The one time that you're nice and quiet and nobody can hear you. His ears are cold though. Must have been. We have a window open at the moment. I said to Nick, I'm like, you do know he's going to go howl at that all night? And Nick just laughed and was like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, of course, Nick doesn't care. Nick's going to sleep, right? And I'm the one that's going to be up and hear him howling out the window all night. But it's getting into summer, so we have to have like a window open, because otherwise it's too hot in like the guest bathroom for the cats to use the boxes and stuff. I don't really have any more space for this. I'm getting to a point where I'm just going to have to use some of these because I don't have inventory space. What's that pet? It's a happily receives lots of pats, smiling. Yeah, Viken's getting all the pats. Viken's basically getting turbo patted right now. I just have this image of a wolf just being like super fast patted by like a lot of hands at the same time and just looking like a little bit panicked about it. Oh, wrong button. I think there could be a wall here. There's definitely an empty jail room that, oh god, that fucking hurt.